I wanted to take a minute to address this comment for a second because I think this person made an error when they were typing it out and they wanted to switch men and women. Because here's the thing we know to be true: when women work, they tend to reinvest 90% of their earnings back into their families and their communities. And they reinvest this money in things like education and healthcare and nutrition. And this is not just good for their families, but it's good for society as a whole, right? It combats things like poverty, for example. In contrast, when men work, they tend to reinvest only 44% of their earnings back into their families and their communities. That's half of what women are investing back into their families and their communities. And so this commenter, I think, had this mixed up, because if we're using that information right there, it would seem as though women are the ones working for their families and men are the ones working for themselves, which I know is in direct conflict with the fact that most men call themselves providers and they really pride themselves on being the person to earn the money for their families and to put food on their tables. But here's the thing: the majority of women are working these days, and not only are these women working, they're earning similar amounts, if not more, than their male counterparts. And when they do, they tend to reinvest that back into their families and their communities, which has immense value. And so, yes, men are still earning more than women overall, partly in thanks to the motherhood penalty and the wage gap. But women's economic power has impact. When women work, it doesn't just have a positive impact on their own lives, but on the lives of those around them, including their families and their communities. And so we really need to move away from this idea that, one, women aren't working, but two, if they are, they're spending the money on frivolous things like clothes. Because in reality, the money that women are earning is going directly back into the community.